PIMA. How do you do this fundamental classical guitar technique? I'm Sean Beavers, and this is Smart Classical Guitar. A few years ago, I heard Lorenzo Micheli and Matteo Mella, or Solo Duo as they're better known, do a technique workshop. And they said that the two fundamental skills in the right hand for classical guitar are PIMA and AMIP. And I agree with them. I think that if you can master those two skills, PIMA and AMIP, many other right-hand patterns will be built off of those. So today I'm going to really dive into PIMA and get very specific on how to do it. And then in a future video, I'll dive into AMIP. Before we get started with the right hand, let me just point out what left hand I'm using. Now, you could use all kinds of different chords in the left hand. I'm just using a basic E minor chord and playing a bass line that is E, G, B, E, D sharp, E, B, G, E. So one more time, the exercise I'm doing is going to look like this. But you can do whatever left hand you want, and the important thing is mastering the right hand technique. Let's dive into the right hand. All right, now we're going to dive into the specifics of the right hand technique. Now, some of you may be more experienced players, and I would suggest you hang around for the rest of the video, because even experienced players sometimes neglect some of the details of what their right hand is doing. But if you're a beginning to intermediate player, the information in this video is going to be very, very useful for you. So please do watch to the end. Now, what I'm going to suggest is let's take the thumb, which right now I have on the 6th string, and let's bring it to the 4th string. And for my left hand, I'm just going to fret the note E on the 4th string. So I have the thumb there, and then I'm going to have index, middle, and ring are going to play. When playing a PIMA arpeggio, we want to use what's called planting, which is putting all the fingers on the string. Now, at first, I'm going to introduce putting all the fingers on the string at once, but when I'm actually playing in the context of a piece, that's not what I'm going to do. But right now, let's just put thumb on the 4th string, index on the 3rd string, middle on the 2nd string, and ring on the 1st string. All the fingers are down and actually touching the strings. So then I'm going to pluck with thumb, pluck with index, pluck with middle, and pluck with ring. Then I'll put them all on those strings again, and I'll pluck one at a time again. Now, if I'm in the context of a piece and I want to repeat this pattern, I can't exactly put all the fingers down at once. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the thumb on the 4th string. Index, middle, ring are not going to be on the string. And this is important again if I'm going to be repeating the pattern. As the thumb plays, I'm going to plant the index, middle, ring. Then the next thing that's going to happen, index is going to play, middle is going to play, and then sort of as ring plays, or maybe slightly after it, then I'm going to put thumb back down on the 4th string. As the thumb plays, I'm going to plant the fingers. So it's going to be all the fingers plant, index plays, middle plays, ring plays and thumb plants, thumb plays and fingers plant. So thumb plants, fingers plant. Thumb plants, fingers plant. Now what we need to think through, and what a lot of players miss, is what each individual finger is doing throughout this process. So let's start with the thumb. When the thumb plays, it should come to the side of the index finger. And then when the index finger plays, the index finger may push the thumb slightly, but the thumb should not move far away from the index finger. What some players do is they play with thumb, and then as the index finger plays, they send the thumb up toward the sky. We don't want to do that. As soon as the thumb plays, index finger plays, index is going to move the thumb slightly, but we don't want the thumb to spring away from index. We just want to let the index kind of slide down behind it. And then next, we want the middle finger to play. Nothing else should move. When middle finger plays, everything else should just be quiet and calm. Then the pinky, we haven't talked about the pinky. The pinky is just going to move along with the ring finger as it plays. And then also as the ring finger plays, the thumb's going to go down. The index and middle just stayed where they were, but so let's go back to that point. So index and middle just stay where they are. The ring and pinky are going to move together. Pinky just kind of sympathetically flexing with the ring, and the thumb is going to go back to plant on the 4th string. Okay, so again, there's a lot going on. This seems like such a simple thing. PIMA, hey, how much more basic can you get? But there's a lot of individual movements that need to happen, and that's what you need to learn if you want to provide a foundation for the rest of your classical guitar technique. You need to get very specific about what each finger's doing, because you'll need to do that same thing in any other right hand pattern you do. So let's go over it a couple more times. Thumb plays, all the fingers plant. Index plays, middle plays, ring plays and thumb plants, thumb plays and fingers plant. Index plays, middle plays, ring plays and thumb plants, thumb plays and fingers plant. Index plays, middle plays, ring plays and thumb plants, thumb plays and fingers plant. So there's really a lot here. You may need to watch this video a couple times to get all those nuances. Again, PIMA seems very basic, but you need to carefully train every finger to know what it's doing at all times throughout this process. And ultimately, you want that to be a habit. You don't want to have to think about it. You're going to need to think about it very carefully for a couple of weeks to really train these habits in. But once the habits are there, then it just becomes automatic. And it becomes a foundation for all of your classical guitar playing that uses any combination. If you use thumb to index or index to middle or middle to ring, any combination or ring to thumb, any combination of the fingers we've been discussing in PIMA, you'll need to know how those are going to interact. And it's based in what we've just talked about in how to play PIMA. So that's how you do PIMA on classical guitar. In a future video, I'll dive more into AMIP. Now, if you're looking for a method book that really goes into the specifics of how to do right hand technique, I recommend Learning the Classic Guitar Part 1 by Aaron Shearer. It dives into the specifics of describing how to do each technique. And then Learning the Classic Guitar Part 2 by Aaron Shearer gives exercises that will be useful for implementing each specific right hand technique. When you're working with a teacher, those books can be useful, but if you're self-taught, they can be even more useful because they provide step-by-step guidance that it's hard to find anywhere else. If you enjoyed this video, you may also enjoy my free guide, How to Supercharge Your Guitar Practice. To get it, go to seanbeavers.us/subscribe.